instead of doing some more jogging style reviews of movies, at least for the time being, that is, I thought I would sit down and do the little podcast thing, the black screen that everybody hates, despite YouTube. It's about sending a message. I thought I would review some movies like this, if you don't mind so much. You okay with that? You want to complain about the audio when I'm out running and ranting about the movies and stuff? Okay, fine. I'll sit down and do it. You'll get good audio. How about that? Can we get a compromise here? Now, I'm trying to watch less movies. I'm watching Star Trek Next Generation, then I'm going to go watch Miami Vice, and I'm seeing a few movies here and there. I do have access to Amazon Prime Video now, and with that in mind, I checked out the latest Arnold Schwarzenegger flick, Killing Gunther. Now, this was shot, I believe, in 2016, released probably on-demand / limited theatrical run last year. And it is written, directed by Taran Killam, don't give a shit. He was an unfunny addition to Saturday Night Live, and he left Saturday Night Live to make this movie, for lack of a better term. This is done up as a faux mockumentary, a fake doc, and it's not done convincingly, nor is it particularly funny, whereas usually this is an easy genre to get a good laugh out of. You see this done with This Is Spinal Tap, or a more recent mention, What We Do in the Shadows, the fake documentary of New Zealand vampires, which is it to say fake documentary? I mean, it's done in the style of a documentary anyways. Point I'm getting at here is we have a guy from Saturday Night Live, so we think he might be funny, but what did he do on SNL? Does anyone remember? No, you do not, because he's not talented. That's why. Totally forgettable. And this is what happens a lot on Saturday Night Live. They're in the comedy factory. They have a bunch of people writing for them, creating characters. Some of them are able to put their own fingerprint to all of this, and some are just a cog in the machine. A lot of guys leave SNL and are never seen from again. Some of them leave thinking they're going to do a big movie. Look at... who was that black guy? The Ladies' Man, You remember the Ladies' Man? Now you see him show up infrequently as guest spot on whatever generic disposable sitcom that's coming about, right? At least he thought he had a big movie coming. He had a movie with a character from Saturday Night Live. This guy, Taran, he thought, oh, hey, I got this shit down. I'm going to go make up my own movie. Screw Lorne Michaels. I'm not bringing over some character. Yeah, this is my path here. Boy, did that bite him in the ass. Well, he managed to bring along Bobby Moynihan, who actually was kind of funny on Saturday Night Live, and he was one of the better things about this movie. You see, we got this guy, Blake. He is played by Taran Killam, because you're the writer, director. You got to make yourself the star, too, right? He's a hitman, and he's a bitter hitman. He wants to kill this other hitman named Gunther. And if you watch the trailers, it would seem as though Gunther had a considerable role in this movie. If you looked at the poster, one would think this as well. The image used to display this movie over on Prime Video is just Arnold Schwarzenegger and Arnold Schwarzenegger alone. Well, in the about hour and a half of this movie, Arnold Schwarzenegger only appears in the final 20 minutes. Yes, he dominates that time, but you're sitting there going, okay, when are we getting to Arnold Schwarzenegger? I signed up to watch Arnold Schwarzenegger. Where the hell is Arnold Schwarzenegger? Where the hell is Arnold Schwarzenegger? Why is there no Arnold Schwarzenegger? And that's what you're just thinking the whole time. Because when you have a big star as the guy in the movie and you don't see him for a long time, that's a problem right there. What you really have here is Taran Killam hanging out with some of his buddies, whoever he could get on the cheap and maybe owed him a favor. Bobby Moynihan's in here. He's a demolitions expert. His other cohort is Hannah Simone from The New Girl, who, by the way, I didn't realize had a giant ass. Maybe you guys knew this. I didn't. But geez. Like Kardashian stuff. So she's a sniper expert. They bring in some more experts. And they all are trying to kill this guy Gunther. They largely lack motive. It's like, hey, I want to kill him to prove I'm the best. I thought it was supposed to be about he's getting all of the hitman jobs, so they have to take him out because he's the competition. Blake's actual motive is that Gunther hooked up with his fiancée/girlfriend, or was it just girlfriend? He thinks stole his girl from him, and now he wants some revenge. And his girl's played by the chick from How I Met Your Mother, and she's in here a little bit. But here's the thing. Blake is not a sympathetic hero. He's a douche. He's totally unlikable. And even if you don't get to meet Gunther, you're just spending most of the time in this movie building up disdain for the protagonist, to the point that you're really hoping Gunther kills him instead. So Gunther's like inadvertently, or it's hard to say, haphazardly knocking off some of the crew. We whittle it down to like the three main people here. Moynihan, Killam, Simone. And they're going to go after Gunther. They found out where he lives, and now we finally get to see Arnold Schwarzenegger. He gets a leg up on him, and he has a documentary crew filming them because he realized they had a crew. So he made a documentary to counter their documentary. And then they have a fight, and film crews get sent home. Another one gets shot, and where they die, the camera lays, and then the fight scene is shown through that perspective, which wasn't the worst thing ever. And I really like Arnold in this movie for what he's there for and doing. It's really unfortunate that your movie, which is a comedy, which has multiple Saturday Night Live alum, is only funny after Arnold Schwarzenegger shows up a good hour plus into the movie. I think it's an hour 7 minutes. That's ridiculous. Gunther's character had much more bravado. He had life in him, charismatic. I mean, this guy seemed like the kind of character that would be the lead, actually. He had a lot of different interests, as pointed out late in the movie. Killiam tries to kill him, but can't do it successfully. They end up going into hiding. He loses his girl. She gets married to some other guy, just no one you'd ever seen before. And everybody's like, well, what happened to Blake? Taran Killam. Well, then we're following around Gunther in, I think they said it was Austria. He returned home, and he's helping out in the community, singing country music. I don't know if you wanted to hear Arnold Schwarzenegger sing country music. Not something I ever thought I would hear. But he's doing all these things, and there's a crew talking to him, and then out of nowhere, Blake shows up, shoots him in the back twice, and it's like, yeah, I got him, I killed him. And then a bomb goes off that was strapped to Gunther, and I guess it kills everybody there. Police show up. They have a little news conference. This is interspersed with the credits. And it appears as though Arnold lived, that Gunther was alive, because they pan over to the crowd at the news conference, which is not the way news press briefings are shot by cameras on TV or any of that shit. And you see like Arnold there, and he winks at the camera. Even though it was shown earlier that Arnold had been tagging along and was playing different parts, different characters as spies, because it's like they couldn't get Arnold for all the time they wanted on this movie. So it'd be like, oh, hey, the guy who sold you the guns, that guy looks like Swamp Thing from Con Air. Oh, yeah, that was Arnold in disguise. Yeah, that's what it was. Like, things like that'll happen, and he can pull off a disguise that well, but here he is basically himself with a wig. Like, what the hell? This movie's so inconsistent and unfunny, and the premise doesn't sound that awful. At least it's original in some way, but it's totally something you can get past without a second thought. I mean, I'm kind of running out of Arnold Schwarzenegger movies I could watch. I kind of want to leave it elusive. You know, leave some mystery, some mystique. I'm going to go out of my way to never see the movie Junior. That way, there will always be an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie I haven't seen. Yeah, I know a lot of people said they didn't like it. I've heard a lot of people, in its day, I think there was a lot of talk about it. It had some good reviews. But I'm going to go out of my way to make sure I never see that one, so that there's just always that white whale out there, you know, the ever elusive Arnold film that never gets to Vaughn. So, Killing Gunther, yeah, it doesn't look that much like a documentary either. I've seen my share of documentaries, and clearly when you have control over the lighting situation, and if you're going to film some guy doing a hitman job, and you don't know already where he's going to be seated, you can't guerrilla place the camera this way, undetected. I mean, in actuality, documentaries can't have even close to as fluid of emotion as they show you in these fake documentaries, especially one that's supposed to have some action, of which there's little action. There's some explosions. Okay, most of them CGI, if not all. But on top of that, it's not like there's car chases and, you know, a great deal of budget spent on this. This is Lionsgate. That's, you know, frankly, the modern Canon group. It's just unfortunate it's only Lionsgate that seems to think, oh, hey, we want to get in on the action. We're going to take over action. We're going to have Arnold. We're going to have Sly. We're going to have Statham. And everybody else piss off, you know, because they're not doing action any favors here. I give Killing Gunther 1.5 out of 4 stars.